The facts are uncontested. The president abused his power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of our national security by withholding military aid and crucial Oval Office meeting in exchange for an announcement of an investigation into his political rival. Sadly, but with confidence and humility, with allegiance to our founders and a heart full of love for America, today I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment.
So really? This is what it's come down to. I know we have been getting ready for this. I know on a certain level, the president, in another 4D chess move, has led Nancy Botox Pelosi exactly where he wants her to be. He wants this to go before the Senate. He wants to be able to call witnesses that should have been called, i.e. the whistleblower, Adam Schiff, Joe Biden, who, by the way, has already said he refuses to go, Hunter Biden, drag Nancy Botox Pelosi in there, and the rest of this lying ilk on the left. But yet at the same time, to actually living in a part of history as it unfolds, it is sickening, it is saddening to see that this is what people like Nancy Botox Pelosi have allowed our country to degrade to. This is sick. As she stands up there fumbling over her words and with her mouth where she looks like a recovering stroke victim, this is a person who has absolutely spent a lifetime in so-called public disservice where she literally hates the Constitution. She and the rest of the libloons consider the Constitution a racist document. It is anti to their social justice, hogwash, all of the other vile things that degrade this country that they support, that they try to champion. The Constitution stands in their way. And then to hear her go on and on about framers and patriotism and the Constitution and the rule of law, and no one is above the rule of law unless it's Bill Clinton, unless it's Hillary Rodham Clinton, unless it's Barack Obama. Then they're not only above the law, they can make up the law or use the Constitution like toilet paper, and that's completely fine. What did Donald Trump do? Donald Trump has followed the Constitution to be our commander-in-chief, to protect this nation, to look out for the interests of this nation, and he is within his rights as the commander-in-chief of this nation in putting America first to make sure that if there was corruption, as the Democrats keep alleging, in the 2016 election cycle, and somehow Ukraine was involved, and millions of dollars passing hands into the pockets of who cares if they're so-called political rivals. What? If you want to be exonerated from a crime, just run against the person who might be investigating you? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely insane. And for her to stand there and she's going to lecture us on the Constitution, the rule of law, and this president, this is beyond pathetic and it is beyond sick. Can you tell I'm just a bit worked up today? So Nancy Pelosi, to save Adam Schiff, to somehow in her warped mind save face on Russian collusion and this entire narrative that they concocted, this coup they put together that was supposed to take out Donald Trump. Understand, it wasn't really supposed to get this far and this long. They can't believe that this guy is still there. And it's funny to listen to the ne'er-do-wells and the so-called political experts and pundits on these panel shows night after night after night talk about how stupid this president is, how in over his head he is, etc., etc., etc. You know the drill, you know the narrative, you know the drumbeat. Yet he keeps running circles around them, and he's still there. A big portion of that is the fact that Donald Trump is not stupid. He's an incredibly smart man, and he has an incredible killer political instinct. And understand, that's one of the things that really drives somebody like a Nancy Botox Pelosi insane. Why, her daughter said when she became Speaker of the House again, "My mother has the ability to cut your head off, and you don't even know it's been removed from your neck." Well, guess what? She's met her match. And the fact that this rube, this guy who was not part of the oligarch, was not part of the inner circle, was not a classic Republican or a classic Democrat, he's not part of the elite, and he was picked by you, the people, and in the words of Greta Thunberg, how dare you? He was picked by the American people, and this is a twofold process. This rube has gotten in there and made them look ridiculous because he's better at the game than they are, and they hate you. And they're going to teach you and punish you to never, never, ever think that you are we the people ever again. That said, to listen to Nancy Pelosi say that the reason he's got to be brought up on charges of impeachment, he put personal gain over national security, and that he withheld aid, military aid to Ukraine until they announced that they would be investigating a political rival. Is anybody with any functioning brain cells paying attention to any of this in the mainstream media that would actually report on this accurately? Ukraine got their aid under Trump. In fact, they got a 10,000% increase in military aid under Trump than they ever got under Barack Obama. Oh, wait a minute, what am I saying? They got nothing under Barack Obama. Joe Biden threatened to withhold their aid if they didn't fire the investigator looking into his son's corporation. They fired him, and they never got their $1 billion in aid. In fact, it was Barack Obama who came out and said that Ukraine was so corrupt we could not afford to give them aid because we didn't know what would be done with it. And all while he's making this case, and some of the very people who testified against President Trump during this entire impeachment sham and scam wrote articles in favor of Barack Obama not giving Ukraine aid. And now they do a complete 180, and from the time the aid was committed to the time Ukraine received it, about a month went by. But they got it. They got every nickel of it. Oh, and while Barack Obama was not giving Ukraine aid, Russia came in and took Crimea. Where's the investigation into that? Was Barack Obama the puppet of Putin? Me would think, especially on that hot mic when, he relayed, hey, after I get reelected, tell Putin I'll be able to do a lot more for him. Why do I hear a zipper in there somewhere? Why do I hear a good to the last drop? Yes, I'm that twisted today. I'm that bent. I'm this angry today. To listen to these absolute traitors, these treacherous, treasonous, vile individuals now try to hide and cloak themselves behind the Constitution. It's nauseating. So Nancy Pelosi has made the stunning announcement, and of course, the libloon lying legacy media, Airport Terminal TV, formerly known as CNN, PMSNBC, and the rest of that ilk, they are having orgasm on top of orgasm. To them, they are going to gang up with the Democrats, and they are going to gang rape the president verbally. But as a man who understands Scripture, I can tell you that I have been observing President Trump and everything that has been thrown at him. And yes, he has an incredible savvy about him, an incredible knowledge, an incredible understanding. He also has something else. And the liberals who watch this are going to hate this, and they're going to write me off as a crackpot and a conspiratorial person, and I don't care. Mr. Trump does have some divine favor on this. See, it isn't about Trump. It's about the fact that the curse causeless shall not come. What does that mean? I've explained it before. Scripture teaches there comes a point where when so much crapola has been put on you that is not your fault, that has been directed at you simply because there are people who hate you and it is unjust what they're doing to you, God has a way of turning that crapola right back on the people that sent it. And that is exactly what we're witnessing. If I were Mitch McConnell, I would drag this out and drag this out. This would pull Bernie Sanders and Pocahontas Warren off the campaign trail. They're going to love that. I would go to whatever court proceedings you have to do to force Joe Biden to testify. To absolutely make sure the whistleblower is outed and there. I mean, this going to get ugly. And I know some of you are worried, what about a Mitt Romney? What about him? He is so irrelevant. He is a hair follicle on a butt pimple of life. That is all Mitt Romney is. But right now, he's going to stay in line because he would like to get reelected, and he would like to have a little bit of something when the Republicans retake control of the Congress. I know he's a senator, but see, right now, they're viewed, because they don't have the House, as still the minority party, even though they have the majority in the Senate. And once we take Congress back in 2020, and once the Republicans are firmly in command with Donald Trump, Mittless Romneyus is going to want some responsibility. He's going to want to chair something. So he's going to play nice right now. And the fact that there are some senators, this is their moment to shine as they look ahead to 2024. Oh, what a thing for them to be able to campaign on, that they took down Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and the entire fake, phony Democrat narrative. Boom, shakalaka boom, and there you have it. All right, that said, let's jump into this. So they convened this panel of legal experts yesterday, and, I'm not even going to waste time breaking down everything they said. The average American, whether they are pro-Trump, anti-Trump, or indifferent, they saw that for what it was. 3 of those panelists absolutely hate Donald Trump. One of them has been pushing for his impeachment since before he took the oath of office. And now we're going to listen to them explain to us that, yes, what he's done, even though we have no proof and none of the witnesses actually saw or were a part of anything, yeah, it's there. It's there. The same people that are saying that, one of those so-called legal experts actually wanted Donald Trump impeached a year ago for something he tweeted. That was an impeachable offense. But Pamela Karlan, who describes herself as a bisexual bitch, that's her words, not mine. She is a complete anti-Trumper. But we're supposed to believe, based on the commentary of the Democrats and CNN and PMSNBC, that because she is a legal expert and she comes from an Ivy League school, she's, Stanford University? She's able to rise above that. Bullhawk. And that was evident yesterday when she made fun of the president's 13-year-old son.
Give you one example that shows you the difference between him and a king, which is the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility. So while the president can name his son Baron, he can't make him a baron.
She later issued an apology. Yeah, you know exactly what you can do with that apology. But the damage was already done. Even liberals are saying, why did she do that? What was she thinking? Now, this woman is an unabashed, not only anti-Trump, but she is triggered to the point that 2 years ago, while attending another conference, she admits to being triggered in public seeing the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C.
So I was struck, I came in from the airport yesterday and I got off the bus from Dulles down at L'Enfant Plaza and I walked up to the hotel, and as I was walking past what used to be the old post office building and is now the Trump Hotel, which I had to cross the street, of course. Are
you staying there?
God, no.
Right. And of course, she can be absolutely unbiased. Vice President Mike Pence had this absolutely spot on.
The impeachment hearings today reached a new low. You hear about it? I just heard that at the hearing today, one of the Democrats' witnesses actually used the President and First Lady's 13-year-old son to justify their partisan impeachment. Democrats should be ashamed. Enough is enough. This sham impeachment should end, and Congress should get back to work on the issues that matter to the American people.
By the way, let me just give a side note here, a little takeaway for you personally, especially if you are a parent with children. Get your kids out of public school. I don't care if you got to put them in a Christian school, parochial school, Hebrew school, home school, cottage school, or illiteracy. Do you understand that these so-called experts, they're all part of academia? These are warped individuals with a revisionist viewpoint of history. There is no quote-unquote saving these schools right now. You can't save the public school system as is. The liberals have saturated public school and secular state universities. So get your young people off to Christian colleges and places like Hillsdale, let them get real education, and then slowly we start working them into the system as teachers and administrators and deans, and we take the schools back. But it is going to require a long-term strategy and plan. But right now, the hearts and minds of your kids and grandkids are at stake. Get them out of those government-run public schools. Get them out now. Representative Gates wasn't having any of Ms. Carlin, who, by the way, was being touted by CNN as, she's amazing. She was just not going to be pushed around or bullied by those Republicans. Of course not. After all, she's a bisexual. That's her self-definition of herself. Well, Gates body slammed her to infinity and beyond.
And so I just have to say, when you talk about how liberals want to be around each other and cluster, and conservatives don't want to be around each other, and so they have to spread out, it makes people, you may not see this from, like the ivory towers of your law school, but it makes actual people in this country feel like, excuse me, you don't get to interrupt me on this time. Now, let me also suggest that when you invoke the president's son's name here, when you try to make a little joke out of referencing Barron Trump, that does not lend credibility to your argument. It makes you look mean. It makes you look like you're attacking someone's family, the minor child of the President of the United States. So let's see if we can get into the facts. To all of the witnesses, if you have personal knowledge of a single material fact in the Schiff report, please raise your hand. And let the record reflect no personal knowledge of a single fact. And you know what? That continues on the tradition that we saw from Adam Schiff, where Ambassador Taylor could not identify an impeachable offense. Mr. Kent never met with the president. Fiona Hill never heard the president reference anything regarding military aid. Mr. Hale was unaware of any nefarious activity with aid. Colonel Vindman even rejected the new Democrat talking point that bribery was invoked here. Ambassador Volker denied that there was a quid pro quo, and Mr. Morrison said there was nothing wrong on the call. The only direct evidence came from Gordon Sondland, who spoke to the President of the United States, and the President said, "I want nothing. No quid pro quo." And you know what? If wiretapping a political opponent's an impeachable offense, I look forward to reading that Inspector General's report, because maybe it's a different president we should be impeaching.
The Republicans had one person there to represent their viewpoint, and they picked, again, a legal expert who is not pro-Trump. In fact, he voted against Donald Trump. And his opening and closing remarks were absolutely incredible. And I'm going to close this rant with Jonathan Turley.
It's an honor to appear before you today to discuss one of the most consequential functions you were given by the framers, and that is the impeachment of a president of the United States. 21 years ago, I sat before you, Chairman Nadler, and this committee to testify at the impeachment of President William Jefferson Clinton. I never thought that I would have to appear a second time to address the same question with regard to another sitting president. Yet here we are. The elements are strikingly similar. The intense rancor and rage of the public debate is the same. It's the atmosphere that the framers anticipated. The stifling intolerance of opposing views is the same. I'd like to start, therefore, perhaps incongruously, by stating an irrelevant fact. I'm not a supporter of President Trump. I voted against him. My personal views of President Trump are as irrelevant to my impeachment testimony as they should be to your impeachment vote. President Trump will not be our last president, and what we leave in the wake of this scandal will shape our democracy for generations to come. I'm concerned about lowering impeachment standards to fit a paucity of evidence and an abundance of anger. I believe this impeachment not only fails to satisfy the standard of past impeachments, but would create a dangerous precedent for future impeachments. Allow me to be candid in my closing remarks because we have limited time. We are living in the very period described by Alexander Hamilton, a period of agitated passions. I get it. You're mad. The president's mad. My Republican friends are mad. My Democratic friends are mad. My wife is mad. My kids are mad. Even my dog seems mad. And Luna's a golden doodle, and they don't get mad. So we're all mad. Where has that taken us? Will a slipshod impeachment make us less mad? Will it only invite an invitation for the madness to follow every future administration? That is why this is wrong. It's not wrong because President Trump is right. His call was anything but perfect. It's not wrong because the House has no legitimate reason to investigate the Ukrainian controversy. It's not wrong because we're in an election year. There is no good time for an impeachment. No, it's wrong because this is not how you impeach an American president. This case is not a case of the unknowable. It's a case of the peripheral. We have a record of conflicts, defenses that have not been fully considered, unsubpoenaed witness with material evidence. To impeach a president on this record would expose every future president to the same type of inchoate impeachment.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a like. Now, as you know, there are a lot of other pundits on here and commentators and the conservative alternative media who have YouTube channels. And by the way, support them, watch them, like their stuff, spread the word, because YouTube is doing everything they can to crush us. I am not monetized at all. YouTube they don't monetize anything I do ever. And I don't sell any merchandise on here, and I don't direct you to a dozen other websites to give and support this program. I would like a little bit of your feedback, though. I won't do it on a regular basis, and I'm not here to beg anything of you, but I do all of this on my own time, at my own personal expense, and if you think that it would be okay, you wouldn't feel offended if I asked for enough help to maintain and cover the cost of what we do, I'd like your feedback in the comment sections below. Don't worry. I'm not here to panhandle. I don't like that. Even as a pastor, I detest that. So, I just want your feedback on that. Hey, make sure you are a subscriber to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.